They came without warning, 800 warships gliding into Earth's orbital perimeter like a steel noose tightening around the planet's throat. The Triarchal Accord had decided Earth was no longer a nuisance, it was a problem, and problems needed to be corrected. Their message was precise: submit or be pacified. The Accord did not waste time with diplomacy when their fleets could speak louder than words. 800 vessels, multiple species, billions of tons of weaponized arrogance. They called it a unified response to human aggression. Earth called it something else: cowardice masked in overconfidence. For 48 hours, the alien fleets waited for an answer. None came. The planetary shields remained active. Civilian networks stayed online. Earth's militaries moved, but only internally, no fleets deployed. To the Accord, it looked like fear. They began preparing a low-orbital kinetic demonstration. They'd show Earth what happened to unruly civilizations. Then, a single ship emerged from Earth's shadow, HSS Audacity. It was old by current standards. No sleek plating or cloaking arrays, just a reinforced hull, oversized reactors, and a deflector core built for suicidal runs. Alone, it moved straight into the heart of the alien blockade. The Accord laughed. Literally. One ship against their armada? They scanned it. Minimal weaponry. No backup signatures. No cloaked escorts. Just one heat signature in the command seat. Captain Alara Voss. Her name wasn't legendary, yet. She had fought in the Titan Rebellion, held the line at Argo's Rift, and walked unscathed from the collapse of the Hydra Belt Nexus. But none of those things mattered to the Accord. Not until she opened a channel. 800 ships, she said, her voice clear, tone calm. That's not a show of strength. That's fear trying to look brave. The Accord commander, a Verex noble named Exifar, sneered through the channel. You believe a single human vessel can intimidate a coalition force? No, Alara replied. I believe it can make you think twice. No threats, no posturing, just words delivered with conviction so unshakable it felt like gravity. Exifar dismissed her transmission and ordered a weapons lock. But the targeting systems failed. Simultaneously, dozens of Accord ships began experiencing sensor interference. Phantom readings, ghost fleets, ships that didn't exist appearing on radar. Audacity hadn't fired a shot. It simply floated there, absorbing attention like a black hole. Systems across the Accord fleet scrambled to recalibrate. Even their AI matrices flagged the situation as incongruent. Nothing made sense. Then a second message. You misunderstand our silence. It's not hesitation. It's patience. We're waiting to see who among you is the first to realize you're already too late. Still, no response from Earth. No global mobilization. Just one ship and one voice. And yet, something changed. One by one, Accord captains checked their tactical overlays. Something was off. Distances fluctuated. Ship positions seemed slightly skewed. Not enough to trigger alarms, but enough to sow doubt. Alara Voss simply waited. No commands. No movements. That's when Exifar realized this wasn't a bluff. This was a countdown. Within the first hour, 3 Accord admirals initiated private communication channels with Captain Voss. Not out of protocol, but curiosity, or perhaps unease. She accepted each one. To Admiral Trawl of the Zenthari, she shared a falsified data packet detailing humanity's success with gravity inversion technology. She spoke softly, explaining how a single charge could collapse a ship into its own mass. She described its field radius, its untraceability. Imagine folding your flagship into a marble, she said. Trawl, brilliant but cautious, ordered his fleet to recalibrate their proximity thresholds, breaking formation. To Commander Hesh of the Maktor, she spun a tale from an ancient war, how humans once turned an alien biofleet into ash with a single AI-directed virus that jumped species firewalls. It never happened, of course, but the coordinates she cited were real. The data was detailed. Hesh didn't know it was fiction. He just knew the last alien race that challenged Earth had gone mysteriously silent centuries ago. He issued a stealth diagnostic lockdown across his carriers. The third, Admiral Vosik, was less cautious, more arrogant, so Alara took a different approach. She didn't lie. She reminded him of his own war crimes. Data scraped from Accord archives by human blacknet operatives. Voss recited the names of the colonies he'd sterilized. Not with anger, just recollection. Then she ended the transmission without waiting for a response. Meanwhile, Audacity moved. Not far, just enough. A silent glide across the perimeter, ignoring weapons locks and warning pings. Then it performed an impossible maneuver, vanishing from one position and reappearing in another in under a second. A proximity warp, technically forbidden, insanely dangerous. It required dancing along a gravitational edge where a miscalculation could rip the hull apart. And yet, she did it again, then again. The Accord fleets began broadcasting inquiries internally. Was it a cloaking field? A wormhole distortion? Was Earth hiding a new engine design? Data conflicted. The scans said nothing had changed. But what they saw, what they felt, was different. Then came the mirror drones. Dozens launched silently from Audacity's belly, dispersing in all directions. Each one projected the exact energy signature of Audacity. To basic sensors, it now looked like there were over 50 human ships flanking the blockade. No weapons fired. But targeting systems across the fleet blinked red. Multiple human threats inbound. Half of them phantom. No way to tell which were real. Panic, subtle and viral, crept through the ranks. Then Alara's voice returned, calm as ever. You think we came to fight, but we came to teach. Lesson 1, humans don't swarm. We isolate. One drone made deliberate contact with an Accord cruiser. It didn't detonate. Instead, its core burst open, releasing a code that hijacked the ship's visual display, projecting thousands of simulated human ships in surrounding space. An illusion, but convincing. Fleets repositioned. Formations broke. Orders contradicted each other. Captain Voss hadn't fired a single round. But now, 3 admirals were afraid of shadows. And all 800 ships were beginning to realize they weren't hunting a foe. They were standing in a trap. One triarchal fleet blinked first. The 5th Mactor Division, under Commander Hesh, initiated an unauthorized full retreat maneuver. They believed they were encircled by invisible human ships, outnumbered, compromised, and exposed. Their withdrawal wasn't met with resistance. Captain Voss let them go, saying nothing. She wanted the others to watch them run. And they did. The remaining commanders hesitated. This wasn't war as they understood it. No volleys, no countermeasures, no dead. Just pressure. Silent, surgical pressure that made even the most battle-hardened admirals doubt their instruments and their own minds. That's when the data leaks began. Audacity transmitted a secure burst through an old diplomatic frequency, one no longer used. It contained classified files, war crimes, resource annexations, records of suppressed revolts, pulled from encrypted Accord archives. Undeniably real. Earth had cracked them wide open. Dozens of Accord captains received the files. Some denied them, others didn't. What mattered was that now trust collapsed. Accusations erupted across fleet channels. Who allowed this breach? How had the humans accessed Black Ops records? Were spies embedded among them? Voss said nothing for 30 minutes. She let the virus of doubt do her work. Then, at the peak of confusion, she spoke again. There is no human fleet behind me. Just this ship. Just me. But I didn't come alone. You brought your history with you. All I did was hold up the mirror. Panic became paranoia. Fleet-wide targeting systems glitched again. This time, internal sensors began flagging ships as possible threats. Phantom interference pulses mimicked friendly codes, forcing captains to question their allies. One Zenthari cruiser turned weapons toward its neighbor, demanding identity confirmation. They nearly opened fire over a misread ping. Inside the Accord's central command structure, mutiny simmered. Officers refused orders. Communication blackouts were initiated to isolate compromised crews. But silence only deepened the distrust. No one could tell who was compromised or if anyone ever was. Then Voss delivered her final broadcast. You outnumber me. You outgun me. But your ships don't matter. Your alliance doesn't matter. You built an empire on fear, and now you've met something immune to it. She paused, letting the static breathe. Leave, not because I threaten you, but because you've realized there's no winning here. You came expecting a war. You found something worse. The silence that followed wasn't tactical. It was existential. No one wanted to be the one to stay behind. No one wanted to be the commander responsible for provoking a force that had dismantled their unity without a single shot. Bit by bit, ship by ship, the fleets began to shift. At first, a few moved back. Then squadrons initiated jump protocols. Entire divisions vanished into fold space. Some tried to hide their retreat with formal language, strategic repositioning, or temporary withdrawal. But the truth hung heavy. 800 warships had faced a lone human vessel, and it was the warships that blinked. By the third hour, the last of the Accord fleets disengaged. No grand declarations, no final threats, just empty space where arrogance once hovered. One by one, ships folded out, their engines sputtering across dimensions like cowards retreating into shadow. Silence returned to Earth's orbit. Inside the Audacity, Captain Alara Voss didn't celebrate. She didn't move. Her hands rested calmly on the console, her eyes steady on the void ahead. Her heart beat slowly, controlled, like a weapon holstered but never forgotten. A priority signal came from Earth Command, encrypted and terse. Status? She replied with a single word. Resolved. Below, the planet stirred. News leaked. Satellite feeds captured fragments of the standoff. One human ship at the heart of a now empty sky. No explosions. No triumphal music. Just a vessel floating in solitude, sovereign in its silence. Across Earth's networks, the image spread like fire. To humans, it was a lesson in power. Not all wars are won with bullets. To the Accord, it became a warning whispered in every council chamber. Earth's weapons weren't just physical. Their most dangerous arsenal was their people. In the weeks that followed, the Accord issued no public statements. Internally, however, changes swept through their ranks. 3 admirals were demoted without ceremony. Whole divisions were relocated. Training protocols were rewritten. A new term entered their tactical lexicon. Voss scenario, an engagement with minimal firepower, maximum psychological collapse. Human diplomats received silent concessions. Trade terms improved. Outer colonies once ignored were now greeted with sudden generosity. No one admitted the reason. They didn't have to. As for Captain Voss, she declined medals. She refused interviews. When asked why she risked herself, why she stood alone against impossible odds, she answered simply, I didn't. She wasn't talking about backup. She meant humanity itself. Every child raised on Earth knew the Accord saw them as unpredictable, dangerous, irrational. And they were right, but not for the reasons the Accord believed. Humanity didn't need superiority in numbers or firepower. They needed conviction. One person, standing where no one else would, could hold back an empire. Captain Voss returned to Earth briefly before disappearing into the outer colonies. Rumors of her spread like folklore. Some said she was training a new generation of captains. Others claimed she had vanished into deep space, watching for the next threat. But the truth was simpler. She had reminded the galaxy that humanity was not to be measured by ships or fleets. It was measured by will. By the cold, unshakable certainty that when pressed against the edge of extinction, humans didn't just survive. They made the void retreat. And in that retreat, the galaxy learned something terrifying. You can crush a fleet. You can blockade a planet. You can silence a people. But you cannot unmake resolve. And on that day, the most powerful armada in the known galaxy learned what it meant to face a single human captain who refused to break.